Hello everyone, this is Tracy from Craft Easy, and I'm back again today to hopefully give you some tips on masking with your copic markers. First of all, when you're masking you need to use a film. The one I'm using today is a Woodware Craft Collection Magic Film, but I believe Eclipse do one equally as good, if not better. When you're using the film, of course it's got a shiny surface, so you will need to use a stays on ink to make sure that it stamps and stays where you want it to be. So I have stamped out, this is CC Designs Drosie's Darling's Rose, which I got from Bunny Zoe, and you would stamp it onto your film and then cut it out as normal. I don't know if you can see here, I've done some of it so I don't bore you. I'm going to show you what happens when you cut it out normally. So you're cutting quite close to the line, as you would if you'd coloured your image, and then you're going to cut it out and stick it on a background. So here's Rosie almost done. So you're going around the line. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you do just that. So here's Rosie, and if you can just imagine that she's all coloured up. I've used a stays on brown ink, so this is another tip actually. It makes it easier to sort of measure up exactly where you need to be, because you need to strategically place this exactly on the lines. If you don't succeed, try again. Okay, so there she is, she's all masked down as you can see, and you're ready to use your copic airbrush to make a background. So, I know some of you are already familiar with the copic airbrush system. I'm just going to use a slightly darker marker just to begin with, just so I can just show you. Actually, if I might use let's use a pinky colour, it's R22, just so you can see. Position it so that the tip, so you get a good flow of air. So we've masked Rosie, and I'm now going to, actually what I'm going to do is just put a piece of paper underneath that. How fine spray you get depends on how hard or the height that you actually put your brush. So I'm going to just mask around Rosie, even. So you can see there. Okay, so that's Rosie masked off. But what you're going to see now, if I take this off, is that you're going to end up with a white line. It's not quite 100%. Now, can you see that white line around her dress? Maybe you're not bothered by a white line around there, but you could, if you attempt to think, oh well, I've got a white line there, I think I will just colour that in my pen. You're going to see what happens. It does not match in any shape, way or form. So my tip to you today is, when that you are cutting out, and here's one I started to prepare earlier, you need to actually cut into the line. So instead of going around the line, which you would normally do, you need to actually cut, if you can see this very well, into the line itself. And this way you can get your airbrush as close to the image as possible. Now if you have coloured your image up and done the airbrush and end up with a white line, it isn't total failure, because you could start adding some colour, some dots around the image and just fade it out. As they say in crafting, happy accident, nothing's ever unretrievable. So again, we're cutting slightly into the line, can hopefully get a better mask. Probably completely fail. So again, very carefully around. I'm just showing the edges. Obviously if you're going to airbrush you would take out the middle section. Okay, so Tracy number 2, one I prepared earlier, I'm going to pop Tracy on, mask her up, being very particular. Making sure I get the right places. It's not 100%. The crown's not 100%. Could be my cutting, of course. Okay, I'm roughly happy with that, I think. So let's just give Tracy another airbrush. Again, I'm just going to use the pink because it just show up when you're doing tutorials on video. That's the airbrush. Hopefully this will be a bit better. We shall see. So when we unmask our image, if you can see there, right next to her dress. Not bad. Can you see that? There we go. So that's one tip if you're airbrushing around your image. I mean, of course, if you don't feel brave enough to airbrush around your image, you can cut your image out, airbrush your background and then cut your image out and stick your image on top. Another tip I'm going to show you, and before I can do that, I'm afraid I just need to cut out Tracy's these gaps here so that I can airbrush behind. Just need to pop Tracy back on again. And I'll just cut this bit out. Okay, so I've just cut out those gaps in her arms, and I'm hoping as I've done it with one of these thumb knives that I've done just as good a job. Okay, so let's mask off Coloured in Rosie. Okay. Still not quite getting her crown right in the right place. Okay. Just managed to cut into a dress. I'm hoping this is going to work well enough. Okay. Right. Airbrush, here we go. Oh, before I airbrush, I'm just explain what I've done here. I wanted to cut Tracy out with this circle, which is one of the new Marianne design craftables. But as you'll notice, as I've cut it out, I've left all the pieces in. I've done that for a reason, so that well, on this, if I was doing this on my paper, I was going to get those marks coming through. And it depends if you do want to have them coloured or not. You might well want to. I want mine to be left white, so I've left those marks in so that when I airbrush, I'm not going to get the colour coming through in that section. So I've taped it down so that hopefully we won't have any seeping underneath. but we shall see. This is BG75, and well, I don't really know what colours I'm going to be doing this in really, but I'm going to just play. So here is BG75. Which I think needs re-inking, so that's probably not a good one to use. So I'm just going to change marker. Let's have a look at some BG72. Okay, it's a bit better. Okay, need to colour in those areas as well, underneath. Quite a lot of my images I tend to be dark around the image itself before I go lighter, so I'm just having a play. And I might add a little bit of the colouring, light colouring I think, of the dress, which I did in the RVs. So let's add a little bit of RV10, which is quite light. I'm going to go for an RV52. I did tell you this was unrehearsed. There we go. There we go, so we're getting a little bit more of the, I quite like that. Okay, so there we have a nice blue, green and pink background. And now the unveiling. Scary bit. Got to unmask. Of course you can clean your dyes with the activator, which is the 0 colourless blender. That will bring this off of your dyes. So hopefully I've still got, there we go, I have got a white all the way around. I'm going to stitch around this section here, and I will pop all these bits out here. So she's looking pretty like that, but if I was to take the film off, let's see how well Rosie did. And of course your film is reusable, so you can use it as many times on your image as you would like. And there we go. There's Tracy. Isn't she pretty? Thanks for tuning in today.